They once stood on opposite sides of history, the colonizer and colony, power and resistance. But today, India and the United Kingdom are partners in a landmark free trade agreement. So how did they go from imperial enemies to global allies? This is the story of how India and the UK went from enemies to a free trade agreement, explained on VNN. For nearly 2 centuries, Britain ruled over India, first through the East India Company, then through direct colonial control known as the British Raj. The ties were anything but equal. India was exploited for resources and labor, while Britain built its global empire. Independence came in 1947, and with it a new relationship, one built not on dominance but diplomacy. Still, the shadow of colonization lingered, in law, language, and economic imbalance. In the post-independence decades, relations between India and the UK remained polite but distant. India's focus shifted to non-alignment and economic self-sufficiency. The UK, meanwhile, became more inward-facing and Eurocentric, especially after joining the European Union. But migration changed the dynamic. Indian immigrants contributed to British society in enormous ways, and by the 1990s, the growing Indian diaspora helped bridge political, cultural, and business ties between the two nations. As India liberalized its economy in the 1990s, UK investors took note. British companies began moving into India's telecom, banking, and retail sectors. Meanwhile, Indian multinationals like Tata and Infosys expanded into the UK, making billion-pound deals and hiring thousands. By the 2020s, India had become one of the UK's most important trade partners and one of the fastest-growing economies in the world. The time had come for something bigger, a formal free trade agreement. Talks began in January 2022, with former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson famously pushing for a deal by Diwali. That deadline came and went. Later, Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch said quality would take priority over speed, and India agreed. By 2023, officials said the deal was 95% done. But it wasn't until May 6, 2025, that the UK government officially announced the deal was concluded, calling it a huge economic win. The agreement is the UK's fourth major post-Brexit trade deal after pacts with Australia, New Zealand, and the CPTPP. This is what's coming. Tariffs slashed. Over 64% of UK exports to India, including whiskey, lamb, and cars, will see reduced or eliminated tariffs. By year 10, that rises to 85%. Whiskey tariffs cut from 150% to 40% over 10 years, a massive win for UK distillers. Luxury cars, tariffs drop from over 100% to 10% under a quota. Lamb goes tariff-free immediately. Indian goods, 99% of them will face zero tariffs entering the UK, meaning cheaper clothes, food, and consumer goods for British buyers. And that's not all. UK businesses will get access to India's $38 billion federal procurement market, and restrictions on services like finance, education, and tech will be eased. There's even a double contributions convention, allowing Indian workers in the UK to skip national insurance if they're temporarily posted, a move that could save businesses money, though it stirred debate over costs and migration impact. According to UK estimates, this deal will boost GDP by $4.8 billion by 2040, increase exports to India by 59%, and raise real wages by 0.2%. That might sound small, but the symbolic value is massive. In a time when global trade is slowing, this deal shows that two major economies, one formerly ruled by the other, can forge a future based on mutual benefit, market access, and modern priorities like digital trade and AI. While critics point out areas like legal services were left out and some clauses remain controversial, the agreement is widely seen as a turning point in India-UK relations. From colonial rule to collaborative trade, India and the UK have taken a historic step into the future. With this free trade agreement, they're not just partners in commerce, but symbols of global cooperation in a fractured world. This was explained on VNN, the show where global headlines actually get explained.